suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please. And to a man, the fellows stand.
I'm looking at Ashley's face. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to another podcast edition of The Daily Dime. We are your hosts. I am... I forgot to say 7319. Good Lord, I just could never get it together. There you go. I love Prince so much. And I have the wonderful, beautiful sitting, to my right, visiting from L.A. She's usually, visiting from L.A.
Los Angeles.
But she's here in the flesh. I have Tapping Along.
What's up?
There she go. There's a tap dance woman.
There you go. There you go.
And to my left, right, because I'm almost going to graduate, right? To my left, I have the wonderful, beautiful Ashley. And I just want to say this. I love Leo women. Like, Leo women, they are the best of all signs ever.
You heard it here.
Yes, we would never disagree with you.
Thank you.
Right.
I think
we couldn't.
we probably think alike. That's probably what's going on. So what's going on, Miss Ashley?
Nothing much. I'm happy to be here.
It's
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you for accepting,
Your invite?
Yeah, our invite. You know, Ashley, I've known Ashley, when did we meet? 2012, yeah. She tried to convert me to become a vegan.
No, I didn't.
Ah.
I didn't. I would never
Oh my
try
gosh.
to do that.
No. I'm a Pisces, so I kind of shapeshift. So
Leos do not try to convince. They just live and
Yes.
lead.
He was following me
I
around.
was
There you
following
go.
her
See, you were
around.
leading.
Like, why is this black guy
I wanted to
following me
quit when I
everywhere?
first got there. And Ashley told me to calm down. Here's a poem. No, she didn't give me a poem. But you are a poet, and I've seen you perform.
Yes.
And you have a CD out, right?
Yes, I do.
Well,
I do.
before we get into your CD, let's back up.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us who you are. Like, where you from? When did you write your first poem?
I am Ashley. A lot of people call me Ash. Born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. If I can just backtrack a little bit in regards to just talking about poetry, it's so funny that you played the Poetic Justice.
You're justice to me anyway. So.
Yeah, but I began writing actually because of that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't realize it until I was much older, in my early 20s, because when I was younger, I was the biggest Janet Jackson fan. And so that movie, when it came out, I was 9 years old. And I remember my mother got it from the corner store, the bootleg copy.
Oh my gosh, bootlegs were out back then?
Yes,
Oh my God.
I would watch that movie every single day. I had no business watching that movie. It's so many curses in it.
It was grown folks movie.
Yeah, it is. But I didn't realize why I liked it so much as a child. I would just watch it over and over. But once I got older, I was like, why did I like this movie so much? And I realized that my story... my life was mirrored in Justice's life. She lost her mom.
Okay.
Her mom was non-existent in the movie, and she
Right.
talks about that a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot, but it comes up in the movie. She's trying to heal from that. And so I remember I started carrying around a notebook with me, like Justice had in the movie, and then she had all these different sayings on the outside of the notebook, so I would decorate my notebook. But I really started writing because of that movie, just because I wanted to be like Justice. But I didn't realize that was something that was already internally inside of me that I was tapping into. So I started writing a lot and just carrying a notebook around with me because of that movie. As far as poetry, I really didn't like poetry. I thought it was kind of corny. But I wrote something. I was always a writer. I love storytelling and creative writing, but I never liked really was into spoken word poetry that much. But I had wrote something and I kept it forever. And then one day, like 2 years later, I ended up sharing it. And I was like, oh, I actually enjoy expressing myself in this manner because I was always such a quiet person.
Was that during your teenage years?
This was actually my senior year of college.
Okay.
And so I was just always like very, very quiet. And so to actually learn that I had a power within me that I didn't know was there, it was like really liberating. So it was just a way to express myself.
Because listening to the CD, it's kind of like night and day.
Yeah, it is.
From the person that I know to the artist that you are.
Almost
I get that
like
a
an
lot.
alter ego.
Yeah, I do get that a lot. Even the way that the CD came about, last year I was performing at this art exhibit, and a young man was standing next to me, and he was like, hey, I love your poem. I would love for you to come into the studio with me. And I was like, I'm not coming into no studio. I don't know you. But he was really serious, and he like texted me like a week later, and he was like, hey, when you want to come to the studio? And then he mapped out a plan, and I came every Monday. But when I finally came to the studio for the first time, he was like, you seem completely different from the person that performed. Like, I'm real goofy and kind of shy in person. But when I'm on stage performing, I feel like myself and at peace. So I think any type, and I guess it dials back to me being a Leo as well. There's a saying that there's no such thing as a quiet Leo. And I think that's true. I think all Leos, there's something like inside of us that has to get out. Yeah. So, I don't know how I would be able to live without expressing myself, whether that be through poetry or teaching or being in some type of stage, or I don't know.
Now, what is the CD project based upon? Like, is it love? Is it family issues? A combination of both? Is it about the sun and the moon and the stars? What are you?
Yeah.
It's not rapping, but what are you
No.
speaking upon?
I wish I could rap, but a lot of my poetry deals with the relationship with my mothers. So my first relationship, I always say I have two mothers. I have my birth mom and I have my earth mom. And so my birth mother passed away about a week after I was born. And then I have my earth mother who passed away last year, and she's the woman that raised me ever since I was a little baby. So a lot of my poetry deals with me trying to figure out who my birth mother, who she was and who I am because of all of that. And then finally coming to an understanding, like, you know, she was simply my portal to get me here, and that I'm part of her, but I'm not all of her. Like, I spent a lot of my 20s trying to figure out who she was because I thought that she was all of me. And so I finally came to the realization that, you know, I'm my own person as well. I'm just sprinkles of her. And just a little story about that, I had went to Costa Rica. You know, I went to Costa Rica.
You didn't take me, though.
But no, it was like some just let me live my life type stuff. And one sign that my birth mom, I feel like she always gives me, is she speaks to me through purple flowers. And so I went to Costa Rica. I had no clue of why I was going to Costa Rica. I just knew that I needed to get away. And it was between Jamaica and Costa Rica. I had a couple sit next to me at breakfast one morning, and they just started talking about Costa Rica. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Costa Rica. So I went there, and I stayed on a farm. And then across from the farm, there's this beautiful waterfall, and it's full of purple flowers just everywhere. And that's like the country flower. It's a purple, I think it's called purple country girl. I don't know the Spanish translation. But it was just such an amazing experience. And I had that epiphany that my mom is only part of me. She's not all of me, when I was sitting at the waterfall one day by myself. And I heard like this voice just in my head just give me that, your mom's just part of you, not all of you. And that was the first time, like, sitting in the waterfall. I was in the middle of, like, this big, beautiful waterfall, and I just felt like one with everything, and I had never felt like that. So that was a really beautiful feeling. Yeah,
peaceful.
It was really beautiful. So my poetry is a lot about that. I was very angry with my birth mom, even though I never met her, especially as I got older, because I think a lot of times with children who have lost a parent, they really don't know how to grieve, or taught how to grieve, or even allowed to grieve. And so as a child, I was very quiet, and very sad too. And it was just like, oh, that's just Ashley. You know, it was never, no one ever sat down and talked to me and said, your mother died because of this. You're here because of this.
Right.
Everything was just kept quiet.
Right.
And so as I got older, I just became really angry. I thought, like, you know, you left me. That's how I felt, like you left me. And, you know, now I don't have any clue of who I am. So I was very angry with her. It took a lot for me just to actually heal from that. And I think the way that I began to heal was just by accepting those emotions instead of suppressing them and saying, okay, I'm angry with you. And then just actually beginning to talk to her spirit was really helpful as well, whether that be I hate you some days, or whether that be just telling her about my day, just giving her some type of presence, because, you know, I was never allowed to do that, and I didn't know how to do that. And then the other portion of my poetry is about the relationship with my Earth Mother. As I mentioned, she just recently passed away. And even though she took me in and raised me as if I were her own and loved me so beautifully, I still had a rough relationship with her, simply because I put so much on her. I didn't understand that she, you know, she's my mom. We can all have different moms, but there's no one that can take the place of your birth mother. And because I grew up with her as my mother, that's who, you know, she is. But I think I put so much pressure on her in my head, not realizing that she could never be my birth mother, you know? Right. And so a lot of my poetry deals with my relationship with her, in her life, and just the lessons that I learned from her life as well. Are
you angry with her, or?
No, I'm not angry with her. I'm not. No, definitely not. The last year that she was living, my mom, my earth mom, I'm getting confused. My earth mom, she passed away due to cancer, and she was sick for about a year and a half, in the hospital for most of that time, in and out of hospital, hospice. And there's this quote from the Course in Miracles that says, healing occurs naturally. And I feel like that's exactly what happened with our relationship, because I went a period of time right before I found out my mom was sick, where I wasn't speaking to her, just because I was just angry. And, you know, for me, I'm the type of person, I'm learning not to do this, but I'm a shut down person.
Yeah, I'm a shut down person too.
Yeah.
Maybe a Pisces, but I feel like I'm a turtle.
Yeah.
I just go into my shell and I just be. Yeah.
It's so not good, though. It's it does a disservice to both you and the other person that you're angry with. But I had stopped talking to her just because I was mad at a bunch of stuff that I had never expressed in my childhood, and I couldn't understand, like, okay, I'm angry, and I want you to know, like, why I'm angry and how this has affected me in my life and how I navigate as an adult was more so. But it's like, no, this is my stuff now. I'm an adult. This is my stuff now. So I was really angry with her during that period. But, you know, once I found out she was sick, she just began to drastically deteriorate. So she was confined to a wheelchair. She couldn't go to work anymore, all of that stuff, you know. And so she needed someone to be at home with her. And just by circumstance, I was able to do that. I have a bunch of brothers and sisters, but, you know, I was the person that was able to come back and live in the house with her. And that was like a really healing experience for me. And I think what it was because I think there was something inside of me that felt guilty for her having to take care of me. Like, she took me in when she was on welfare, and she had 3 kids of her own, a single mom, and I think I felt very guilty for her having to take care of me. So it was like finally my chance to be like, okay, I can finally give you something,
It came back full circle.
Yeah.
So you were able to give to her the love and the dedication that she had given to you all your life.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize how powerful you are?
Oh, thank you. I'm learning.
You are.
Thank you.
And you know, as time passes, you're going to realize, even through your words and through your energy, you're going to realize how very powerful you are.
Thank you.
And people are going to be able to feel that.
They feel it.
Yeah.
Well, when we were at the place we used to work at, one thing that we always would say is that Ashley was peace, and when she comes into the room, it's peace. She brings a peaceful, a calmful, yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because even now, like, this is all fresh for me with dealing with the death of my Earth mother. And I'll say her name because I want to acknowledge her. So her name is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
And my other mom's name is Pat. Pat and Pat. But this is all fresh for me, and it's totally different from dealing with the death of my mom as a child, because I didn't know her. So it didn't affect me like this is affecting me. And grief is just interesting. Like, it's just so interesting.
It is.
Like, you can't hide from it.
No,
and
you cannot run.
It shows up when you don't want it to show up, and you're like, well, I thought I dealt with this part of the...
It's almost as though you have to become one with it. And until you do that, you know, you're never going to really know how to deal with it.
That's very true. That's very true, because it's going to keep coming up. But it's like, it's so much more than the death of the person. Like, it affects so much because it forces you to reflect on just other things. Like my mom Kathy, who is my Earth mom, her death is making me go back and reflect on my birth mom's death, and I'm realizing the things that I did as a child. I'm realizing through my grieving process that I was grieving as a child and I didn't know it, you know? It's difficult, but it does make you feel like more human because you're really, really, really feeling things. And then there's times when I feel completely numb.
Right.
So it's just it's a very interesting
Now, when you're, because we were on your Tumblr, and we noticed that you, prior to your Earth Mother's passing, you were just kind of like giving an update, a journal of what was going on in your world. Here I am with the trees. I'm hugging the sun, and moon, stars. You know, she's Earth power. So
and fire.
Fire.
And when your Earth Mother passed, Kathy, right? When she passed, you documented it. You documented that journey. Right?
I was trying to, but it was really difficult. And I felt like I was, right after that happened, I had this feeling like, oh, I'm inspired. I saw my mom pass, you know, and, you know, one of the things that she told me before she passed was, you know, live your life to the fullest. That's one of the things that she regretted, was not living her life to the fullest. And so there was this, I felt really inspired to live after that, but then it all settled in, and it's just like, okay, what is life?
Right.
You know?
Well, you know, that's me every day, 24/7. What is going on here? I have no idea. Like, no one knows.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't want to be here. Not like in a suicidal way, but just like, you know, like when my mom passed, me and my brothers were all around her. We were there. And I felt like this sense of peace when she passed. And I'm like, I want that. I want peace. Like, you know, but it was really difficult. It's still difficult for me to write. I haven't performed since my mom passed. Like, I don't feel inspired to write. And I was like trying to force myself to sit down and write, and I can't do it, you know, I can't do it. And I'm like, I was so holding on to that, and I was a bit angry. I think with creativity, oftentimes, I guess people are different. There are people who need to be very disciplined with their creativity, and then there are
Right.
people who need to be like really inspired. And I was feeling a bit guilty. I was like, I'm being lazy with my writing. But it's like, no. And I was thinking that maybe God was going to take that gift away from me, you know? And it's just like, no. When your time comes, you will write. God inspired you before. God will inspire you in the future. And it was just like become inspired with doing things that you actually enjoy doing right now. Because I don't enjoy writing. Like, I don't think I would enjoy being on a stage right now. Like, I wouldn't be able to feel emotionally like connected to anything, especially anything that I've written in the past. So right now, like, I enjoy baking, and I never liked to
on
bake.
Instagram you're baking. Yeah,
like it's real therapeutic for me. So that's something that I enjoy. And then actually, I want to get some skates and start skating. So I feel like I have to inspire myself in other ways, and maybe I'll be able to write again. Maybe I won't. But, you know, I'm like, if God gave me that gift for a little bit period of time, then that's wonderful. That's awesome. I did what I was supposed to do with it. And then, you know, maybe I'll find something else that
now your
I
other
like.
gift may be your cooking.
No, I like eating sweets right now.
I like that.
Yeah,
But that is also a form of expression, and it's therapeutic.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know what you do with the dough, if you knead it or, but that is a form of expression.
Yeah, and it feels good. And even like, I think what brings me a lot of joy too is just sharing it with other people. Like bringing people gifts. I would have brought you guys something.
Yeah,
It's not too late.
But yeah, when you show up with like some cake or something, like people immediately get excited. Like, oh, I needed that right now. So that feels good too.
Well, thank you for. You have something to say?
I just wanted to say that I think that you just have to wait. You have to be at peace with who you are and be at peace with this process, and then I think the writing will come back to you. I think one day you'll wake up and you might be, I don't know, taking a walk in the park or in the shower, and something is just going to hit you, and your first words will happen, and you'll be surprised, and it will come again. So just be patient with yourself and with the process.
I will. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
So
I did
Snaps.
something. Thank you, tapping along.
yes.
Where's your sound by that? There it is.
There you go. There goes my
Tap
tapping.
shoes.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
my
I have
God.
2 left feet, by the way, so.
Me too. I have a 2-step.
I did a sample for Ashley. Let's see if it plays.
Now keep in mind that I'm an
Oh,
artist.
I like
I'm
that.
sensitive about
She's
That's
an
cute.
artist. And she's sensitive
Now
about
keep
her
in mind
ish.
that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yes.
That's what I do. Thank you, Ashley, for being on here and sharing your life and poetry and dealing
Your
with
pain.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was actually helpful for me. I didn't think this
Well,
would
thank
be
you for helping
that
me with my
helpful, so
project
thank you.
for school. All right, thank you. And you want to say anything before we exit out?
I just want to say that you're an inspiration.
Oh.
And you may not know it yet. You may not see it. But I read some of your blog, and I know what it's like to lose. And you are truly an inspiration.
Oh.
And you're a lion.
Oh, thank you.
I don't have a lion.
sister.
I don't have a lion sound effect.
You want me to do it?
You
But-
don't need one. We're
but
lion.
you can do it
got
yourself?
it already.
Arr. That's my lion sound effect.
Well, I am 7. And this is
I
Tapping
am
Along.
Tapping along.
We will see you when we see you.
Yeah.
Where's your
Living the
soundbite?
light.
Oh my God, Jesus. There you go.
Today because I wanted to honor the birth of my birth mother who passed away years ago. But she passed away on August 18th. So I just wanted to set up something for me to remember her and then for other people within the community to remember people that you may have lost. And so once again, thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for waiting. And thank you for coming back
And so I guess the people that are supposed to be here are the people that are supposed to be here. But I guess I'll start it off with a poem that I wrote to honor my mother. And then if anyone else has something to say about someone that may have passed away that's dear to them, or if you have a poem or something that you would like to share, then feel free to do so. This poem is for my mother, and her name is Patricia Lynn Wood. Dear Ma, when I was younger, they used to tell me that you lived in heaven in the sky. I remember my cousin, she used to always try to be funny. She'd always ask me, "Hey Ash, why you ain't got no mother? Where your mother at?" And just like the adult showed me, I'd point my fingers to the sky and I'd say, "My mother, she's in heaven, in the sky." But you know, Ma, now that I'm getting older and I'm growing taller and I'm growing closer to the sky, they don't tell me that you live in heaven in the sky no more, Ma. They don't tell me that you live in heaven in the sky no more, Ma. Now they tell me that you're buried somewhere on the side of the road underneath a pile of dirt. Every time we're riding on the parkway and we pass Rose Hill Cemetery, somebody always turns to me and nonchalantly asks me, "Hey Ash, you know your mother buried over there with Uncle so-and-so, right? But they don't tell me that you live in heaven in the sky no more, Ma. They don't tell me that you live in heaven in the sky no more, Ma." They don't realize that 28 years after your death, and I'm just beginning to acknowledge you, Ma. 28 years after your death, and I'm just beginning to mourn you, Ma. 28 years after your death, and I find myself laying in the fetal position, laying in the tub, crying out for you. I'm crying out for you, Ma. Why did you leave me? Why did you leave me here by myself? They say that dying people know when they're dying. You knew you were leaving, Mommy. You knew you were leaving. So what gave the audacity to give birth to me, then up and leave me 1 week later? How irresponsible of you is that? How irresponsible of you is that? You up and left me. You up and left me. Your baby, your baby, your precious, precious baby. I wonder if you ever told me that you loved me. I wonder if you ever planted kisses on my forehead. I wonder if you ever rested your head on my scalp simply so that you could smell the scent of my hair. I wonder if you loved me, Mommy. I wonder if you loved me. My life feels like one big joke because you are not here. You are supposed to be here. You are my post to the world, Mommy. You are my post to the world. And just as your post stopped beating, my post stopped beating. I need you, Mommy. I think you have a few of my things, Mom. I think my sense of self and my self-esteem are buried inside of your womb with you in heaven. If you're not going to be here, can you pass me my things, Ma? Can you pass me my things? I need them. I need you. I need you, Mommy. I need you. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you, Mommy. How can I miss somebody that I have never even met? How can I have so much faith in somebody that I can't even see? You are like God to me, Ma. You are like God to me. I have an altar in my room that I set up just for you. I pray to you every night. I ask you to talk to me, but you don't talk back. I ask you to come to me in my dreams, but you never come. You are like God to me, Ma. You are my God, Mommy. You are my God. You are my God. You are my God. They say that we are created in the image and likeness of our creators. I want to be just like you, Mommy. I want to be just like you. Everybody always tells me that you were so sweet. They call me sweet too, Ma. They call me sweet too, just like you. but I'm not really sweet though. I'm just trying to remember you, Ma. I'm trying to convince people that I actually came from somebody. I've seen about 5 photos of you, Ma, and you are so pretty. You are so pretty. And you always dress so fly with your high-waisted pants and your red lipstick. You know, Ma, I've been wearing high-waisted pants and red lipstick ever since I was 19. I just want to look like you, Mommy. I just want to look like you. I remember growing up, people used to always tell me that I look just like my daddy, just like your daddy. I wanted to punch every single one of them dead in their throats, dead in their throats. They were just another reminder that you weren't here, just another reminder that you up and left me, just another reminder that I don't know where the hell I came from. I don't look like my daddy. I have a mother, I have a mother, I have a mother, and I look just like her. You know, Mom, my dad, he always tells me that you ain't have too many friends, but he did say that you had this one best friend that you were really close with. He tells me that if I ever had any questions about you, that she would be the one to answer all of my questions. You know, Mom, I walk down the streets of North New Jersey in my high-waisted pants and my red lipstick, all in hopes of one day running into your best friend. And I imagine that she sees me and she does a double take because she thinks that she sees you. And then she remembers me. She remembers me, your baby. Oh my gosh, that's Pat's baby. That's Pat's baby. And then she hugs me and she tells me that she loves me. And then she hugs me even tighter, and she tells me that you loved me, and she tells me that you were so excited for my arrival. And she tells me that you loved peanut butter and biscuits when you were carrying me. And she tells me that you loved shopping in thrift stores. And she tells me that you were so soft-spoken, but your voice never rose above a whisper. And she tells me that you were so soft and gentle and kind and sweet, yet you were powerful and you ain't take no mess. You sound so familiar, Mommy. You sound so familiar. You know, Mom, I imagine that one day, me and your best friend will become best friends. And I imagine that oftentimes she stops me in the middle of my laughter and she asks me, "Oh, baby, just hold that smile. Hold that smile right there. Just hold it. That's it. That smile right there. Oh my gosh, I see my friend in you. I see my friend in you. I see Pat in you. I see so much of your mother in you. Keep smiling, baby. Keep smiling. I see your mother in